The Fast and Furious franchise has suffered from the ongoing beef between Vin Diesel and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in a variety of ways. But how exactly? With 2001's The Fast and the Furious, Diesel has been a part of the franchise from the start. Johnson, though, started working on the concept with Fast 5 in 2011. Despite the fact that Johnson's entry into the franchise was favorably received by both reviewers and viewers, tensions between the Fast and Furious franchise's strongest characters soon developed behind the scenes. Ultimately, the feud between Diesel and Johnson came to light in 2016 when The Fate of the Furious was being made. Johnson posted a now deleted Instagram message in which he referred to unnamed male Fast and Furious cast members as candy. Johnson's remark immediately sparked speculation that it was directed at Diesel, and the two actors went on to post veiled criticisms of one another on social media. When Tyrese Gibson, Johnson's co-star, claimed that Johnson was to blame for the postponement of filming F9, the Fast saga, the conflict between Diesel and Johnson grew more heated. However, Vin Diesel openly defended Johnson against Gibson's allegations. But the damage had already been done, and as a result, Johnson said he would not be in F9, the Fast saga. Although the conflict between Johnson and Diesel just came to light in 2016, there are indications that it may have started during the Fast and Furious 6 production some years earlier. According to one hilariously awful scene from the film, it is conceivable that the conflict between Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson began during the filming of Fast and Furious 6 in 2012. The actor's blocking reveals that at no point in any shot are the two actors actually staring at each other. This is despite the scene's evident attempt to make it appear as though Johnson's Luke Hobbs and Diesel's Dom Toretto are speaking face to face. This scene contains a number of examples of forced perspective shots meant to give the impression that the two performers are closer than they actually are.
We're laughing at that.
No, I would never do that.
But the shots were not convincing enough. Toretto is seen approaching Hobbs in the initial frame, but Diesel's eyes remain fixed, implying that he's not looking at Johnson. It's a completely bizarre scene that only appears to have been captured using forced perspective in an effort to make Johnson smaller than Diesel. One explanation for why this Fast and Furious 6 scene was shot this way is that Vin Diesel simply didn't want to be physically overshadowed by Dwayne Johnson. Diesel produces the Fast and Furious franchise in addition to acting in it, but the production issues brought on by the conflict wouldn't end with Fast and Furious 6.
That muscles will give you all show and no go.
Unfortunately, The Rock and Vin Diesel's feud prevented them from working together to film The Fate of the Furious. Dwayne Johnson and Vin Diesel didn't film a single scene together during the production of The Fate of the Furious, despite Luke Hobbs and Dom Toretto being two of the most significant characters in the 8th installment of the franchise. As a result, Diesel and Johnson only share one scene together. However, this was accomplished through editing after the shots, and not by having the two actors on set at the same time. This does not ruin The Fate of the Furious, though, but because Toretto's plot had him collaborating with Charlize Theron for the majority of the movie, the conflict between the two men had lesser effects. Diesel altered the conclusion of The Fate of the Furious by removing a crucial Luke Hobbs scene while serving as producer. The encounter would have brought Hobbs and Deckard Shaw back together. Instead, Diesel insisted on having the scene removed from The Fate of the Furious's theatrical cut, even though it did well with test audiences. According to reports, Johnson was also agitated by Diesel's behavior on set. Sources say that Diesel allegedly caused delays by arriving to filming days late every time, and this pissed Johnson off. However, during the marketing for The Fate of the Furious, Diesel made an effort to patch up the rift by saying that he calls Johnson Uncle Dwayne with affection. Diesel also tried to mend his relationship with Johnson at work, but his efforts were unsuccessful. As a result, Dwayne Johnson's final mainline Fast and Furious film was The Fate of the Furious. Johnson later moved into the spin-off Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw, which focuses on his Luke Hobbs character rather than continuing to appear alongside Vin Diesel in the main franchise. Hobbs & Shaw actually made money when it was released in theaters in 2019, but the movie falls short of what F9 The Fast Saga could have become if Dwayne Johnson had been a part of it. Although Hobbs & Shaw is directed by David Leitch, who also worked on John Wick, the action is not nearly as thrilling. Instead, the humor amongst Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham, which may have easily been incorporated into F9 if it weren't for Johnson and Vin Diesel's animosity, is the best of Hobbs & Shaw. Dwayne Johnson confirmed his exclusion from the movie in January 2019, despite having been scheduled to star in the movie F9. This suggests that despite appearing to have been resolved in public, his conflict with Diesel was still active. Following the premiere of the spin-off, Johnson surprisingly thanked brother Vin on Instagram for his support of Hobbs & Shaw. The fact that Dwayne Johnson continued to skip out on appearances in the main Fast and Furious franchise, however, suggested that the dispute was still going on behind closed doors. That being said, fans of the franchise shouldn't expect to see The Rock make a comeback in Fast X or Fast 11. This is made extra worse by the fact that Fast X will use Fast 5 flashbacks to reveal its adversary, Dante, who's portrayed by Jason Momoa. Johnson's first Fast and Furious movie was Fast 5, so it'll be really strange to revisit the series without him. Sadly, Johnson's ongoing exclusion from the Fast and Furious series has prompted the project to look for a replacement. The Fast Saga's John Cena, a fellow former professional wrestler, served as an antagonist who later became a hero, much like Luke Hobbs in Fast 5. Once more, it appears like Jason Momoa is being used in place of the physically intimidating Johnson in Fast X. One of the most obvious ways that the Vin Diesel-Dwayne Johnson dispute has harmed the Fast and Furious series is that Dwayne Johnson has no desire to come back to the franchise. In the meantime, Dwayne Johnson expressed regret for making his dispute with Vin Diesel public in a conversation with Vanity Fair. He added that doing so is not in his DNA. The Instagram post that revealed the dispute reads as follows: "My female co-stars are always fantastic and I love them, but my male co-stars are a completely different story. Some men act like true professionals and upstanding citizens, while others don't. Those who don't are too chicken to take action in any case. Candy. My blood is boiling right now." The post has been deleted ever since, but not before everyone had already seen it. Although Vin Diesel has refrained from commenting on the issue and has simply said that he views Johnson as a brother, reports claim that fans won't ever again see them on screen together. As for what the other actors on the franchise have had to say about the Vin Diesel-Dwayne Johnson beef, well, it seems everyone is just minding their business, except for Tyrese Gibson, who blamed The Rock for the delay in filming F9. No one else has spoken out on the subject.